Hello everybody, this is Refresh and I'm here to bring you a battle between the Strixhaven Commander decks and the Battle of the Horde challenge deck from Born of the Gods. We'll be playing 2 games, first on normal difficulty with 3 turns before the Horde attacks and then on hard mode. And for these games we're going to be using 3 hero cards. The first one is the Harvester. It says tap, draw a card, then discard a card. We also have the Explorer, which says you may play an additional land on each of your turns, and the Vanquisher, which says your starting hand size is increased by 1, your maximum hand size is increased by 1. Because I only have 1 copy of each of these cards, I'm going to be applying their effects to all 5 decks simultaneously. And the decks that we have here are Lorehold, Prismari, Quandrix, Silverquill, and Witherbloom. We'll be using the face commanders for all the decks except for Silverquill, because the face commander Brina is no good for this challenge deck format. We'll get started by drawing our opening hands. Lorehold draws a Pianolar, 1000-Year Elixir, Felden of the 3rd Path, Lorehold Campus, Plains, Thopter Engineer, Boar's Charm, and Mountain. It's not an ideal start, but I think we can keep it. Prismari draws a Surge to Victory, Diluvian Primordial, Blasphemous Act, Volcanic Vision, Letter of Acceptance, Rutha Mercurial Artist, Humble Defector, and Ponder. There are no lands, and so we will not keep it. Let's mulligan. Because this is multiplayer, we will also get 1 free mulligan. Now we have an Elementalist Palette, Mana Geyser, Is It Signet, Brass's Bounty, Mountain, Memorial to Genius, Dig Through Time, and Is It Boiler Works. This is not ideal, but I think we can hope to work with it thanks to the signet here. Quandrix draws a Nissa's Expedition, Commander's Insight, Garruk Primal Hunter, Island, Biomathematician, Shamanic Revelation, Lumbering Falls, and Island. Not an ideal hand, but again, we will keep this one too. Silverquill draws a Swamp, Plains, Keen Duelist, Secluded Steppe, Necropolis Regent, Swamp, Windborn Muse, and Ambition's Cost. There's not a lot going on here, but I guess we have a 2-drop, so we'll keep it. Witherbloom draws a Sun Droplet, Swamp, Cultivate, Dina Soul Steeper, Vampire Nighthawk, Sangromancer, Leyland Prowler, and Witherbloom Campus. A little short on lands, but I think if we just draw 1 more, we can fix all the rest of the mana. So let's keep it and hope that we can loot into what we need. Because this is multiplayer, we're drawing on our opening turn. Lorehold draws a Duplicant. Prismari draws a Stormkiln Artist. Quandrix draws a Kodama's Reach. Silverquill draws a Cunning Rhetoric. Witherbloom draws a Blight Mound. Alright, we'll play a Lorehold Campus. This is land, enters battlefield tap. You can tap for red or white. You can pay 4, tap to scry 1. And we'll also play a Mountain. Prismari will play a Mountain and a Memorial to Genius. This is a land that enters the battlefield tap. You can tap for blue and pay 4 blue, tap and sacrifice it to draw 2 cards. Quandrix plays a Lumbering Falls. It's a land that enters the battlefield tap. You can tap for green or blue. You can pay 2 green and blue, and it becomes a 3/3 green and blue elemental creature with hexproof until end of turn, and it's also still a land. We'll also play an island. Silverquill will play a Plains and a Swamp. We'll tap both and we'll cast the Keen Duelist. This is a 2/2 human wizard. At the beginning of your upkeep, you and target opponent each reveal the top card of your library. You lose life equal to the mana of the card revealed by the other player, and you each put the card revealed into your hand. As a reminder, the Horde's cards do not have any mana value, so this is just a free card draw for Silverquill. Witherbloom will play a Witherbloom Campus. It's a land that enters the battlefield tapped. You can tap for black or green, pay 4, tap to scribe 1, and also play a Swamp. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Lorehold draws a Rip Apart, and we will discard the Duplicant. Prismari draws a Charmbreaker Devils, and we will discard the Mana Geyser. Quandrix draws a Coiling Oracle, and we will discard Commander's Insight. Silverquill draws a Magister of Worth, and we will discard the Cunning Rhetoric. Witherbloom draws a Myriad Landscape, and we will discard Dina Soul Steeper. We'll untap. Lorehold draws a Temple of And as part of Keen Duel's ability, we'll also reveal the top card of the Horde's deck, which is Refreshing Elixir. Prismari draws a Radiant Performer. Quandrix draws a Yavimaya Coast. Silverquill will reveal the Coveted Jewel, put it into our hand. Then we'll draw the Utter End. Witherbloom draws a Blossoming Bog Beast. Lorehold will play the Temple of Triumph. It's a land and enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, scry 1. You can tap it for red or white. We'll scry. We'll look at the Darksteel Mutation, and we will stick it on the bottom. Then we'll also play a Plains. Tap 3 mana. Cast Pia Nalar. This is a 2/2 legendary human artificer. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. You can pay 1 and red for target artifact creature to get +1/+0 until end of turn, and 1 sacrifice an artifact if target creature can't block this turn. Just a Thopter. I'll tap both of these and cast the Izzet Signet. This is a artifact. You can pay 1 and tap it to add blue and red. Then we'll play the Izzet Boilerworks. So land, it enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, return a land you control to its owner's hand, and you can tap it for blue and red. We'll bounce a mountain back to our hand. Then we'll replay the mountain as our second land for the turn. We don't have anything else we can cast, so we will hold this here. Quandrix will play the island and the Yavimaya Coast. It's a land. You can tap it for colorless. You can tap it for green or blue, but it deals 1 damage to you. We'll tap everything. Cast our commander. This is Adrix and Nev, twin casters, a 2/2 legendary merfolk wizard with Ward 2. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. Silverquill will play another swamp and a secluded step. It's landed into battlefield tapped. You can tap it for white and cycle it for white. Witherbloom will tap and then cast the Sun Droplet. This is an artifact. Whenever you're dealt damage, put that many charge counters on Sun Droplet. At the beginning of each upkeep, you may remove a charge counter from Sun Droplet if you do gain 1 life. We'll also play Myriad Landscape. This is a land, enters the battlefield tapped. You tap it for colorless. Pay 2, tap, sacrifice it to search your library for up to 2 basic land cards that share a land type. Put them onto the battlefield tapped and then shuffle. Then we'll go to combat and swing with the Keen Duelist. We'll mill 2. We mill a Refreshing Elixir and a Refreshing Elixir. This has the Hero's Reward ability. When it is put into a graveyard from anywhere, each player gains 5 life. So there are 5 players, so we'll gain 25 life per player, giving us 50 life, taking us up to 90. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Lorehold draws a Faithless Looting, and we will discard the Faithless Looting. Prismari draws a Creative Technique, and we will discard the Creative Technique. Quandrix draws an Oversimplify, and we will discard the Shamanic Revelation. Silverquill draws a Plains, and we will discard the Coveted Jewel. Witherbloom draws a Talisman of Resilience, and we will discard the Blight Mound. We'll begin our final turn before the Horde attacks, and untap. Lorehold draws a Secret Rendezvous. Prismari draws an Island. Quandrix draws a Managorger Hydra. Silverquill draws a Stinging Study. Witherbloom draws a Suffer the Past. We're going to order this correctly, and we'll tap 3 here. And cast the Managorger Hydra. This is a 1/1 Hydra with trample. Whenever a player casts a spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Managorger Hydra. Lorehold will tap 3 and cast Secret Rendezvous. The sorcery, it says you and target opponent each draw 3 cards. The challenge deck is unable to draw cards, so we'll just draw 3 alone. Monologue Tax, Mountain, and Layla the Blade Reforged. We'll play the Mountain. Prismari will play the Island. Tap 3 mana and play the Elementalist Palette. This is an artifact. Whenever you cast a spell with an X in its mana cost, put 2 charge counters on it. Tap it for 1 mana of any color. You can tap it to add colors for each charge counter on it. Spend this mana only on costs that contain X. Then we'll spend 4 more mana. We'll cast the Stormkiln Artist. This is a 2/2 Dwarf Shaman. It gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control, and whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, create a treasure token. It is currently a 4/2. That is 3 spells cast so far, so we'll put a 3 counter. Silverquill will play a Plains. Then we have Secret Tech here. We'll spend 3 mana. We'll spend 4 mana and cast Windborn Muse. This is a 2/3 spirit with flying. Creatures can't attack you unless your controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. This will basically entirely stop the Horde from attacking because it has no ability to pay for mana costs. Witherbloom will spend 3 mana and cast Cultivate. It's a sorcery. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those. Put one onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand and shuffle. We'll put the swamp onto the battlefield tapped and the forest onto the battlefield as our regular land drop. Adrix and Nev will attack, and the Managorger Hydra will have gained 2 more counters, making it a 6/6. Keen Duelist should not have been tapped. We'll tap it to attack. That's 7 damage to the Horde. Then we'll move to the Horde's turn. The Horde will cast the top 6 cards. We have a Minotaur Goreseeker, a 3/2 Minotaur with haste and attacks each turn of Fable. Minotaur Younghorn, a 2/2 Minotaur with haste and attacks each turn of Fable. Another Minotaur Younghorn. A Vitality Salve. This is an artifact. At the beginning of the Horde's pre-combat main phase, reveal an additional card from the top of the Horde's library. The Horde casts that card, and when it is put into a graveyard from anywhere, each player returns a creature card from his or her graveyard to the battlefield. We also have a Phobos Reaver. It's a 2/3 Minotaur with haste and attacks each turn available. And then an Intervention of Koranos. At the beginning of the combat this turn, it deals 3 damage to each creature. This is on the stack, and it will deal 3 damage to each creature. This will destroy all of Lorehold's creatures. The Horde will also lose all their creatures. Prismari will lose the Stormkiln Artist. There are 6 more spells cast, so the Managorger Hydra becomes a 12/12. And Quandrix will lose Adrix. Silverquill will lose their 2 creatures. We have a plan now that we see the Vitality Salve, so we'll use the Harvester. Lorehold draws a Combustible Gear Hulk, and we will discard the Combustible Gear Hulk. Prismari draws a Reinterpret, and we will discard the Charmbreaker Devils. Quandrix draws a Reform, and we will discard the Reform. Silverquill draws an Angel Serenity, and we will discard the Necropolis Regent. Witherbloom draws a Sapling of Kalfener, and we will discard the Sapling of Kalfener. And that will end the turn. We'll untap. Lorehold draws a Phyrexia's Core. Prismari draws the Living Lore. Quandrix draws a Roxa Patient Professor. Silverquill draws an Ink Shield. Witherbloom draws a Swamp. Lorehold will play the Phyrexia's Core. It's a land. You can tap for colors, pay 1, tap, and sacrifice an artifact to gain life. Go ahead and do this now. We'll tap 2 and cast Rip Apart. This is a sorcery. It says choose 1. It deals 3 damage to any target creature or planeswalker, or destroy any target artifact or enchantment. We'll choose the Vitality Salve. And now each player will get a creature from their graveyard to the battlefield. Lorehold will choose the Combustible Gear Hulk. This is a 6/6 artifact construct with first strike. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent may have you draw 3 cards. If the player doesn't, you may mill 3 cards, and then it deals damage to that player equal to the total mana value of those cards. We have a lot of cards in our hand, so we'll actually go ahead and mill 3 cards. We mill a Excavation Technique, Unstable Obelisk, and Hellkite Tyrant. That is a total of 13 damage. We mill an Altar Mogus. It says when it's put into a graveyard from anywhere, the Horde sacrifices 2 Minotaurs. It has no Minotaurs to sacrifice. Prismari returns the Charmbreaker Devils to the battlefield. This is a 4/4 Devil. At the beginning of your upkeep, return an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard to your hand, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, the Devils get +4/+0 until end of turn. Quandrix gets a Reform. It's a 0/1 Worm, and when it dies, create a 3/3 blue fish creature token with when this creature dies, create a 6/6 blue whale creature token with when this creature dies, create a 9/9 blue quaking creature token. Silverquill gets a Necropolis Regent. This is a 6/5 vampire with flying, and whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put that many +1/+1 counters on it. Witherbloom gets a Sapling of Kalfenar. This is a 2/5 legendary Treefolk Shaman with Indestructible, and when it attacks, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, you gain life equal to that card's toughness, lose life equal to its power, and then put it into your hand. Then we'll tap 3 more mana and cast Layla, the Blade Reforged. This is a 2/2 legendary spirit warrior with haste. When it attacks, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Whenever you exile 1 or more cards from your library and or graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on Layla. Now we'll spend 4 mana to to cast so 5 Thunder Conductor. This is a 1/4 legendary human shaman, and whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, scry 1. If that spell's mana value is 5 or greater, create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. If that spell's mana value is 10 or greater, Zephyr deals 10 damage to an opponent chosen at random. We've cast 3 spells so far, so we're going to put 3 more counters on the Managorger Hydra, making it a 15/15. We're going to spend 3 mana and cast Kadama's Reach. This is sorcery. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards, put one of them onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand, then shuffle. We'll put another counter on the Managorger Hydra. We'll play the Forest. We're going to tap the Forest and the Yavimaya Coast for blue. This will deal us 1 damage, taking us down to 89. This will put a counter on the Sun Droplet. And then we'll cast the Coiling Oracle. This is a 1/1 Snake Elf Druid. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it on the battlefield. Otherwise, put that card into your hand. This is a command tower. We'll put it on the battlefield. It's a land. You can tap it to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. We'll add a counter to the Managorger Hydra, making it a 17/17. Silver Quill will spend 4 mana and cast Ambition's Cost. It's a sorcery. You draw 3 cards and lose 3 life. Silver Quill draws a Plains, a Promise of Loyalty, and a Scholarship Sponsor. We'll play the Plains. We lose 3 life and go down to 86. Sundroplet gains 3 more counters. Witherbloom will play the Swamp. We'll tap 2 mana to cast the Talisman of Resilience. This is an artifact you can tap for colorless. We'll tap it for black or green and it deals 1 damage to us. We'll tap out and cast the Blossoming Bog Beast. It's a 3/3 beast, and whenever it attacks, you gain 2 life. Then creatures you control gain trample and +X, where X is until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. We'll put 2 more counters on the Managorger Hydra, making it a 19/19. We'll go to combat and swing with the Hydra for 19 damage. We get a Massacre Totem. It says when it's put into a graveyard from anywhere, put the top 7 cards of the Horde's library into its graveyard. We also hit a Plundered Statue. It says when it's put into a graveyard from anywhere, each player draws a card. Lorehold draws a Rogue's Passage. Prismari draws a Reliquary Tower. Quandrix draws a Simic Growth Chamber. Silver Quill draws a Citadel Siege. Witherbloom draws a Sanguine Bond. Lorehold will play the Rogue's Passage. This is a land you can tap for colorless, and you can pay 4 and tap it for target creature can't be blocked this turn. Prismari plays a Reliquary Tower. It's land you have no maximum hand size, you can tap it for colorless. Condrix will play a Simic Growth Chamber. It's a land that enters the battlefield tap. When it enters the battlefield, return a land you control to its owner's hand. You can tap it for green and blue. We'll bounce a force back into our hand. And then we'll go to the Horde. The Horde will cast their top 6 cards. We have a Minotaur Younghorn, a Descent Upon the Prey. This is a sorcery. Whenever a Minotaur attacks this turn, it gains first strike until end of turn and must be blocked this turn if able. A Phobos Reaver, a Plundered Statue. It's an artifact at the beginning of the Horde's pre-combat main phase. We reveal an additional card from the top of the Horde's library. The Horde casts that card, and when it's put into a graveyard from anywhere, each player draws a card. A Minotaur Goreseeker, and a Consuming Rage. Whenever a Minotaur attacks this turn, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn, and destroy that creature at the end of combat. So all of these going to attack with first strike and +2/+0 and destroy it at the end of combat. We have the life to sustain all of that damage, and then all the creatures will die, and that will give the victory to the Strixhaven Commander decks. Alright, we'll be back for Hard Mode. It's time for Hard Mode. We'll only have 2 turns before the Horde attacks. Let's draw our opening hands. Lorehold draws a Low Shield, Clockwork Scholar, Burnished Heart, Layla the Blade Reforged, Dispeller's Capsule, Reconstruct History, Duretti's Scrap Savant, Soul Ring, and Phyrexia's Core. We cannot keep a hand that lacks colored mana despite the Soul Ring and Phyrexia's Core, so we're going to mulligan. Now we have a Duretti's Scrap Savant, Steel Hellkite, Cleansing Nova, Mountain, Rout, Sunhome Fortress of the Legion, Burnished Heart, and Plains. I don't love this hand, but we do have things that we can play, and so we'll keep it. Prismari has a Pyromancer's Goggle, Scavenger Grounds, Sunbird's Invocation, Ponder, Elemental Masterpiece, Creative Technique, Mana Geyser, and Island. Lacking a red mana is going to be a problem for this hand, but we do have the Ponder, so we're going to keep this and hope we can ponder our way into a better hand. Quandrix draws a Desolation Twin, Forest, Hydra Broodmaster, Theoretical Duplication, Mosswort Bridge, Oversimplify, Quandrix Cultivator, Trigon Predator. We don't have any blue mana, and so I think we're going to mulligan this one. Now we have a Forest, Temple of the False God, Return of the Wildspeaker, Forest, Master Biomaster, Paradox Zone, Spawning Kraken, and Theoretical Duplication. Still don't have that blue mana source, so we're going to mulligan again and go just down to 7. Now we have a Lonely Sandbar, Trigon Predator, Master Biomancer, Managorger Hydra, Island, Hornet Queen, and Forest. It's a reasonable hand to keep. We'll go ahead and drop the Hornet Queen. Silverquill draws a Plains, Curse of Disturbance, Together Forever, Duelist Heritage, Swamp, Utter End, Guardian Archon, and Martial Impetus. We can't really cast anything with just 2 lands, and so I think we're going to mulligan this and hope to draw a better hand. Now we draw an Incarnation Technique, Elite Scaleguard, Author of Shadows, Selfless Squire as the top of Primal Dawn, Together Forever, Utter End, and Tempting Contract. This is a 0-lander, so we're going to mulligan down to 7. Now we have Anil's Disciplined Enforcer, Baron Moor, Plains, Boreas Charger, Plains, Exotic Orchard, and Keen Duelist. It's an acceptable hand. We'll bin the Exotic Orchard. Witherbloom draws a Pristine Talisman, Swamp, Witherbloom Campus, Llanowar Waste, Nissa's Renewal, Well of Lost Streams, Leyline Prowler, and Tivash Gloom Summoner. I think that this is an acceptable first hand. Lorehold draws a Chain Reaction. Prismari draws a Brass's Bounty. Quandrix draws a Soul Ring. Silverquill draws a Plains. Witherbloom draws an Odd Nixless Reignited. We'll start with Quandrix because we have this here. We're going to play a Forest. We'll tap the Forest to cast a Soul Ring. This is an artifact. You can tap it for 2 colorless. We'll play another Forest and tap the Forest. And then the Soul Ring to play a Managorger Hydra. Lorehold will play a Plains and a Mountain. Prismari will play an Island. We'll tap the Island to cast Ponder. This is a sorcery. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put them back in any order. You may shuffle, then draw a card. We look at an Apex of Power, a Seething Song, and a Diluvian Primordial. And then it doesn't matter what order we're going to put them in because we're going to put them in and then shuffle immediately. We draw a Reliquary Tower. Go ahead and play the Reliquary Tower. Silverquill will play a Plains and a Baron Moor. This is a land enters the battlefield tapped. You can tap for black and you can cycle for black. Witherbloom will play a Witherbloom Campus. We'll also play a Swamp. At the end of the turn we'll use the Harvester. Lorehold draws a Mountain and we will discard a Route. Prismari draws an Island and we will discard the Mana Geyser. Quandrix draws an Island. We'll discard the Lonely Sandbar. Silverquill draws a Cunning Rhetoric and we'll discard the Cunning Rhetoric. Witherbloom draws a Swamp and we will discard the Well of Lost Dreams. We'll untap. Lorehold draws a Boros Locket. Prismari draws a Prismari Campus. Quandrix draws a Champion of Wits. Silverquill draws a Plains. Witherbloom draws a Sapling of Kolfenar. Lorehold will play the Mountain and the Sunhome Fortress of the Legion. This is a land. You can tap for colorless or pay 2 red, white. Tap, target creature gains double strike until end of turn. We'll tap 4 and cast Daretti, Scrap Savant. This is a 3 loyalty legendary planeswalker Daretti. And for +2, discard up to 2 cards and draw that many cards. -2, sacrifice an artifact. If you do, return target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield. And for -10, you get an emblem that says whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return that card to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. It can also be our commander. We're going to +2 Daretti, taking up to 5 loyalty. We're going to discard the Boros Locket and the Cleansing Nova. And we'll draw a Lorehold Campus and a Command Tower. Prismari will play a Prismari Campus. It's land enters the battlefield tap. You can tap for blue or red. Pay 4, tap to scribe 1. And we'll also play an Island. Quandrix will play 2 islands. Then we'll spend 4 mana to cast the Master Biomancer. There's a 2/4 Elf Wizard. Each other creature you control enters the battlefield with a number of additional +1/+1 counters on it equal to Master Biomass's power and is a mutant in addition to its other types. The 2 spells cast will make the Managorger Hydra a 3/3. Silver Quill will play 2 planes. Tap the Moor and the planes to play another Keen Duelist. Witherbloom will play a Swamp and a Llanowar Waste. The Llanowar Waste is a land. You can tap for colors or tap to add black or green and it deals 1 damage to us. We'll tap 3 mana. Cast a Leyland Prowler. This is a 2/3 Nightmare Beast with Death Touch, Lifelink. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. All this adds 2 more counters to the Hydra, making it a 6/6. We'll attack with a 6/6. We mill the Refreshing Elixir, so we'll gain 25 life to go up to 65. Then the Horde will cast the top 6 cards. We have a Minotaur Younghorn, a Minotaur Goreseeker, a Phobos Reaver, Unquenchable Fury. Each Minotaur can't be blocked this turn except by 2 or more creatures. A Phobos Reaver, and a Plundered Statue. At the beginning of the Horde's pre-combat main phase, reveal an additional card from the top of the Horde's library. The Horde casts a card, and when it's put into a graveyard from anywhere, each player draws a card. These creatures attack. We'll double block a Phobos Reaver with the Biomancer and the Prowler. We'll gain 2 life from the Prowler, but we'll lose 7 life, so we'll be at a net -5, taking us down to 60. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Lorehold draws a Faithless Looting, and we'll discard that. Prismari draws an island, and we will discard the Creative Technique. Quandrix draws a forest, and we'll discard the forest. Silver Quill draws a Martial Impetus, and we'll discard the Boreas Charger. Witherbloom draws a Healing Technique, and we will discard the Nissa's Renewal. One tap. Lorehold draws a Mountain. Prismari draws a Mind Stone. Quandrix draws a Simic Signet. Silver Quill draws a Swamp. Witherbloom draws an Ageless Entity. Lorehold plays a Mountain and a Command Tower. Tap out. Cast a Steel Hellkite. It's a 5/5 artifact dragon with flying. For 2, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. And for X, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value X whose controller was dealt combat damage by Steel Hellkite this turn. Activate only once this turn. We'll also +2 to ready. We'll discard the Chain Reaction and the Lorehold Campus. We'll draw a Pia Nolar and a Mountain. Prismari will play the Island and the Scavenger Grounds. It's a land. You can tap it for colors and pay 2. Tap and sacrifice a desert to exile all cards from all graveyards. We're going to tap 5 mana. Cast the Pyromancer's Goggles. It's a legendary artifact. You can tap it for red, and whenever that mana is spent to cast a red instant or sorcery spell, copy that spell, and you may choose new targets for that copy. And we'll tap both of these to cast a Mind Stone. This is an artifact. You tap it for colorless, pay 1, tap, sack it to draw a card. The Managorger Hydra will get 2 more counters. Tap the Soul Ring to play the Simic Signet. This is an artifact. You can pay 1 and tap it to add green and blue. Then we'll spend 3 more mana. Cast a Trigon Predator. There's a 2/3 beast with flying. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may destroy a target artifact or enchantment that player controls. That'll put 2 more counters, making the Hydra a 10/10. And the Trigon Predator will come into the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters, making it a 4/5. So we'll play the Swamp and the Plains. We'll tap a Swamp and a Plains and another Plains to cast the Martial Impetus. It's an aura. Put it on the Keen Duelist. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and is goaded. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, each other creature that's attacking one of your opponents gets +1/+1 until end of turn. We should also have drawn an extra one off the Keen Duelist, which is Spectral Searchlight. And we'll go ahead and tap 3 more mana to cast the Spectral Searchlight. It's an artifact. You can tap it to choose a player. That player adds 1 mana of any color they choose. We'll tap out and cast Tavash Gloom Summoner. This is a 4/4 legendary human warlock with lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, you may pay X life, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn. If you do, create an XX black demon creature token with flying. We'll put 2 more counters on the Managorger Hydra, making it an 12/12. Go to combat, and we'll attack with the Hydra, the Biomancer, and the Keen Duelist, which will give the Hydra and the Biomancer an additional +1/+1. That's 19 damage. We hit a Vitality Salve. While that trigger is on the stack, we're going to tap the Harvester. Lord Hold draws a Ruin Grinder and will discard the Ruin Grinder. Prismari will draw the Mountain and we will discard the Mountain. Quandrix draws an Island and discards the Champion of Wits. Silverquill draws an Angel of Serenity and will discard the Angel of Serenity. Witherbloom draws a Loxodon Warhammer and will discard the Ageless Entity. Now the Vitality Salve triggers. Lord Hold will put the Ruin Grinder onto the battlefield. This is a 7/4 artifact construct with menace. When it dies, each player may discard their hand to draw 7 cards, and you can mountain cycle for 2. Prismari has no creatures in their graveyard. Quandrix will put the Champion of Wits onto the battlefield. This is a 2/1 Naga Wizard. When it enters the battlefield, you may draw cards equal to its power. If you do, discard 2 cards, and you can eternalize it for 5 blue and blue. It enters the battlefield with 2 additional counters, making it a 4/3, and then we will go ahead and draw 4 and discard 2. We draw a Fractal Harness, a Terastodon, a Beast Within, and an Island. We'll discard the Beast Within and the Island. Silverquill will get the Angel of Serenity. This is a 5/6 Angel of Flying, and when it enters the battlefield, you may exile up to 3 other target creature cards from the battlefield and or creature cards in the graveyard. When it leaves the battlefield, return the exile cards to their owner's hand. That will just remove the 3 minotaurs that are already on the battlefield. The cards put in exile from the Horde's deck are removed and put into the graveyard. Witherbloom gets an Ageless Entity. This is a 4/4 elemental, and whenever you gain life, put that many +1/+1 counters on it. Then we hit a Plundered Statue. We'll each draw a card. Lord Hold draws a Meteor Golem. Prismari draws a Mage Ring Network. Quandrix draws an Island. Silverquill draws a Plains. Witherbloom draws a Radiant Fountain. We also hit an Altar of Mogus. There are no Minotaurs to sacrifice. Now we'll go to the Horde's turn. The Horde will cast the top 7 cards. We have a Phobos Reaver, Minotaur Younghorn, Minotaur Goreseeker, a Mogus Chosen. This is a 5/4 Minotaur, and it enters the battlefield tapped. It attacks each turn if able. We have Consuming Rage, a Minotaur Goreseeker, and a Minotaur Goreseeker. All these creatures are attacking at +2/+0, but they will be destroyed at the end of turn. We have enough creatures to block one of the Goreseeker's Phobos Reaver and the Younghorn without losing them. So we'll take out those 3 and take 10 damage from the remaining Gorehorns to go down to 50. Then we'll untap. Lord Hold draws a Mind Stone. Prismari draws a Diluvian Primordial. Quandrix draws an Incubation Druid. Silverquill draws a Plains. Witherbloom draws a Noxious Gearhulk. Lord Hold will play the Mountain. Prismari will play the Mage Ring Network. This is land. You can tap it for colorless or pay 1 and tap it to put a storage counter on it. Quandrix will play 2 islands. Silverquill will play 2 plains. Witherbloom will play a Radiant Fountain. It's a land. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. You can tap for colorless. The 2 life take us up to 52. We'll put 2 counters on the Ageless Entity. We'll tap 3 mana and cast the Pristine Talisman. This is an artifact. You tap for colorless and then you gain 1 life. We'll tap 3 more mana to cast the Loxodon Warhammer. This is an artifact equipment. A creature gets +3/+0 and has trample and lifelink. And you can equip it for 3. We'll gain 1 life from the Talisman tap, giving the Ageless Entity a +1/+1 counter, taking us up to 53. Hydra gains 2 counters to go up to 14. Silverquill will pay 3 and cast Nil's Disciplined Enforcer. It's a 2/2 legendary human cleric. At the beginning of your end step, for each player, put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature that player controls. Each creature with 1 or more counters on it can't attack you or planeswalkers you control unless its controller pays X, where X is the number of counters on the creature. Then we'll spend 4 more mana and cast our commander, Felisa Fang of Silverquill. It's a 3/2 legendary vampire wizard flying and mentor. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, if it had counters on it, create X tapped 2/1 white and black inkling creature tokens with flying, where X is the number of counters on it. The Hydra is now a 16/16. Prismari will tap the colorless, the Prismari Campus, and Island To cast Sunbird's Invocation, this is a champion. Whenever you cast a spell from your hand, reveal the top X cards of your library, where X is that spell's mana value. You may cast a spell with mana value X or less from among the cards revealed. This way, without paying its mana cost, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Hydra is now 17/17. Lorehold will spend 2 mana. Cast another Mind Stone. We'll spend 3 more mana. And cast a Burnished Heart. This is a 2/2 artifact elk. You can pay 3 and sacrifice it to search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put them onto the battlefield, tap from the shuffle. They'll tap 3 more to cast Pianolar. We'll get a token. And the Hydra gets 3 more counters, making it a 20/20. And we'll tap out everything else. To cast Fractal Harness. This is an equipment. When it enters the battlefield, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X+1/+1 counters on it, and then attach Fractal Harness to it. Whenever a creature attacks, double the number of +1/+1 counters on it. There's our Fractal. We'll put 4 +1/+1 counters on it. We're going to tap the Soul Ring to move the Fractal Harness onto the Managorger Hydra. We'll go to combat and we'll attack. We'll attack with the Champion of Wits, the Master Biomancer, the Managorger Hydra, which is going to double the amount of counters on it, which is already 20, so now it's going to be at 40, making it a 41. Trigon Predator, the Keen Duelist, and the Angel of Serenity, which will cause the Martial Impetus to give every other creature a +1/+1. The Leyland Prowler, Tivash, and Ageless Entity will also attack, as will the Steel Hellkite and the Rune Grinder. It's a total of 95 damage. That's going to do maximum damage to the entire deck. We'll gain 25 life from the Refreshing Elixir. We'll mill 7 more. And then that will finish off the deck. There's a whole bunch of other effects that we could do to blow everything up, but we're just going to stick with the Steel Hellkite, paying 0 to destroy all of the non-land permanents, which will include the 3 Minotaurs and the Plunder Statue, defeating the Horde and giving the victory to the Strixhaven commander decks in 2 back-to-back victories that were pretty much flawless in execution, since we ended up with additional life. Let me know what you thought about the games in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of my videos, you can hit subscribe. This is Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.